Hi, this is Ross Buckin. Today I'm going to be discussing abortion and some of the points of views on either side of the abortion debate. It's always been a super controversial issue in America, always been one of the most controversial issues in American culture and politics. Um, just starting at the beginning, um, of kind of the modern era of abortion law was the Roe v. Wade decision in 1973. The Supreme Court in that case ruled 7-2 that a woman's right to an abortion was protected under her right to privacy, granted in the 14th Amendment. This ruling gave women the right to have an abortion performed during the first trimester. So during the first trimester, anywhere in the United States, legally, a woman can have an abortion. And then they put in place ways for the states to regulate their own abortion laws for the second and third trimesters. And most states regulate abortion um, based on either or a combination of the issue of what the cause of the pregnancy was. Um, for example, a pregnancy, in a conservative state, a pregnancy um, abortion may be allowed in the case of a pregnancy resulting from rape, whereas it might not be in other cases, for example. And the other issue that is the focus of a lot of regulations is the developmental stage of the fetus. So, according to the Pew Research Center, 57% of Americans believe that abortion should be legal in all or most cases, while 40% believe that it should be illegal in most cases. The issue of legal abortion is often framed in the U.S. as a partisan political issue, and that's because, in large part, it is. 91% of Democrats support legal abortion, and 71% of conservative Republicans believe that it should be illegal. Again, from Pew. Now, moderates on both sides um, disagree on abortion um, much less than do, um, you know, Democrats and conservative Republicans, which are the previously mentioned two groups. The rates of support for abortion um, among moderate Democrats and Republicans is on both sides between 50 and 60. Much of the common public thought on this issue centers around the issue of the value of a fetus, particularly at different stages in development. In the essay On the Moral and Legal Status of Abortion, Marianne Warren argues that regardless of a fetus's stage of development, it does not possess the full capacity and rights of a full-fledged member of a moral community. So that's someone who is actively and productively able to participate in society. She basically argues that the things that we generally consider intelligence, basically, are what give a person the full claim to the rights of a human. And that's her argument, kind of boiled down to its most simple. Um, but that just based on a fetus's inability to participate as a full-fledged member of a moral community, it doesn't have a full claim to these rights, is what Warren argues. On the opposite end of this, there are those who argue that a fetus, regardless of stage, has a right to life, regardless of how far along in the process of development. In the essay, The Wrong of Abortion, Patrick Lee and Robert E. George argue that abortion is immoral because it requires the killing of a human being. So there are two elements to this. They argue that a fetus at any stage of human development is a complete human being. This is based on their conclusion that the right to life is not a right that's earned or granted depending on situation, like many other rights are, like the right to vote, the right to drive, right to own a firearm. It is a right that is held based on the particular kind of organism, essentially arguing that in having human DNA, a fetus is a human. And the second claim they make in this argument is that, the second point they put out at least, is that abortion is not the active refusal of support. They frame it as the active killing of this fetus, which they conclude is a human being. So based on that, they conclude that abortion um, is the murder of a full human being. In the essay Defense of Abortion, Judith Jarvis Thompson takes on the argument that human rights of a fetus um, make abortion immoral. So she accepts, just kind of on face value for the sake of the argument, the concept that uh, was made by Lee and George that a fetus is a human being. She accepts that, but she does not believe that that makes abortion illegal. Unlike Lee and George, she frames abortion as the active refusal of support, uh, and puts forward a famous hypothetical about violinist. In this hypothetical, a violinist, a person that has significant demonstrable value to society, is attached to your body through some cord, some life cord. This cord is keeping the violinist alive, but you have the ability to remove it from yourself and essentially kill the violinist. Her basic argument is that in this hypothetical, you'd have the right to remove this cord in the life of the violinist, however callous or self-centered this action may be. So it wouldn't be a good thing to do, but the right belongs to you in this hypothetical. And then she extends this to mothers with fetuses. It is a right of the mother, even if we're taking the fetus as a full human being. It's the right of the mother to refuse support. Um, so she does stipulate, though, that morally she thinks that mothers ought not to have abortions in many circumstances. For example, if it's only to avoid an inconvenience. She says, for example, if it would force you to postpone a vacation. But she defends their right to do so. Another approach to the issue of abortion is presented in Dan Marquise's Why Abortion is Moral. So Marquise argues that abortion is immoral specifically under the logic that the fundamental wrong committed in the murder of an adult human is the same wrong that is committed in the killing of a developing human fetus, and that wrong is the denial of future experiences. So when killing a fetus, it could be said that you're denying even more future human life experience, more experience of human consciousness, of joy, of pain, happiness, sadness, everything in between, then you would be denying a 45-year-old man if you killed a 45-year-old man, based on the amount of life potentially left to live before that person dies naturally, theoretically. He does stipulate, though, again, makes a stipulation, as did Thompson, that he doesn't believe that this condemns preventative birth control. So there are obviously several aspects to the issue of abortion. It's not a simple issue, and it will be debated for a long, long time, very likely. Thank you.